Let's go. Here we are, episode 2 of What the Surf podcast. And what a special lady we've got with us. Coleroy, South Kilkeel Junior, correct, G?
Look, South Kilkeel is a bit of a new scene for me. Manly originally, and then Coleroy is where I spent a lot of my time, and probably like where I would call my home club now. And just dabbling a little bit in the South Kilkeel boat scene. They've got a really good boaty culture, and gonna crack on with the season with them this year and see where it takes me.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
This is breaking news.
yeah. Breaking news. Going to put on the white. What color are they? White, yellow, and blue cap
White,
this
blue,
year.
and blue. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to do the compete next
Wow.
week in the world titles, so should be good fun.
All right, let's start there then. So what's coming up next week? What does that entail?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a bit of like a spare of the moment kind of decision for me. I think we were overseas, and I was messaging some of the girls that I rode with after Tokyo. I did a season with them, and or half a season with the girls from that boat crew, and I just thought, what's happening? Because I found out that the world titles was on the Goldie, and I thought, well, that's a really good opportunity for me to jump in and have something to focus on after the Olympics as well, because post Olympics, it's kind of like it's a very abrupt stop. Like your purpose kind of stops. You either fulfill your dreams or you're pretty heartbroken, and I just wanted to have something else to think about. So and they're great girls. Love the girls from South Curly. Really awesome sweep. Like I said, really awesome boat culture. They did a really great job at the Aussies last year or this year. And yeah, just pretty keen to get back to my roots and jump in a boat. And I'll spend a bit of time down at Coleroy as well. But yeah, all my competition stuff will probably be with the South Curly crew this year, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, exciting stuff. They've actually got a really solid champion lifesaver and first aid squad as well. So they're building the club at different levels, which aren't your standard beach and ocean. So yeah, really good to see them up and coming. So South Kilkeel, originally with Coleroy, you took out was it under 23 Aussie surf boat title with them a while ago?
Yeah, I think that was in 2015. Maybe we won the 23 Aussies, and then the year before that we got a silver. So had a little bit of success there. The senior stuff, I think we made a couple of finals, but never got a medal in the open event. And then I obviously moved over to the Stillwater rowing world. I was a pretty handy ski paddler too, Harold.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So prior to the boat rowing, Nipper at Manly, so just with the sky blue cap for your whole life.
Yeah, I didn't do nippers the whole like I didn't start doing nippers until I was a little bit older. And I didn't really love nippers actually, I'll be honest. And I was more into like playing soccer and netball and those kind of things. And I didn't grow up on the beach. I was in French's Forest or Belrose, so it was a little bit further away, and getting there was a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of came back to the surf club when I was doing a bit of kayaking with my auntie and uncle, and Shelley is my auntie. Yeah, so she was a member at Manly Surf Club, and Naomi Flood and Trent Herring came down to learn how to kayak, which was like seems so weird now because Floody obviously went to 2 Olympics and such an awesome ski paddler, and I still remember I'd be like touching her up in the kayak, and then she was just getting way faster than me, and I was like a fair bit younger, but Trent and Naomi were pretty keen to get me down to the surf club, and got into that and loved the ski paddling. Like that was really fun. And my best mates are from Manly Surf Club, like Flo Epper, Polly Williams, Emma Williams, like really awesome athletes. And Floody was just such a great role model for me. And if she wasn't an athlete or a competitor to me, she was a sister, the sister that I kind of didn't have. And she really took me under her wing, and that was just like really great to have somebody like her. And just a really good influence as well, good and bad. She used to take me partying a little bit, but we had a lot of fun down at the surf club, and yeah, loved the ski paddling though. Like I think I was telling Ali Bull the other day, I was like, I'm pretty sure I won the under 19 state champs on the ski, which yeah, was pretty awesome. Yeah.
So good. So you're dropping basically every single best coach in Australia in that first little bit of this interview.
Yeah.
Now, so unbelievable ski paddler. How did you actually get into the boat to become a 2-time Olympian?
Well, into the rowing boat, like the Stillwater boat, into the 8, it's really not that simple. Like even just to get into the training center, I had to learn how to row. Obviously. But I think like back when I was about 19, my friend Abby Jones, she was rowing surf boats, and she said to me, she's like, you'd be a really good surf boat rower, and I know you'd love it. This is down at Manly. And I thought, yeah, let's give it a crack. And she was right. Like, I just fell in love with the sport straight away. And we did, I think, 2 seasons or 3 seasons at Manly together. And then we both moved to Collaroy. And then when we were at Collaroy, like, obviously had a little bit of success with that. And I just remember, like, ergs are or the rowing machine, however you want to think of it, but ergos are such a measurement tool, such a hard training tool. And we used to do a 2K erg before a Saturday session. And, like, at that point in time, I was pretty naive. I had no idea what a good erg or a bad erg was. And I did a 2K, and I was a lot faster than the other girls, and I couldn't quite understand it other than being way taller, bigger lungs, bigger heart, whatever. But then, like, time had gone by, and one of my friend's boyfriends at the time, he was like, oh, you should do this indoor comp. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll give that a crack. So I did this indoor rowing comp, and I was still rowing surf boats at the time. And for me, I was nursing, and it was like literally a day off work. So I went and did this indoor comp, got a really good score, and this guy, his name's Leslie or Lindsay, one of those. He came up to me and he was like, you are really good at those. You're really good at ergs. I had no idea. And he said, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the best score in Australia at the moment. And this is in 2016, so this is just after the Rio Olympics. And I think I did something like a 640 off the top of my head. And yeah, from there, like from that competition, I had 2 really amazing phone calls. I had one from the head coach of Rowing Australia, the Women's Rowing Australia team, John Keogh, and another one from this guy called Ron Batt. And Ron gave me this really amazing opportunity to go overseas and do the indoor world champs. It's called the Crash Bees in Boston. And went and did that. That was awesome. Came second. Still had no idea that, this was such a big thing. And then in the conversation I had with John, he came down to Colorado. We had a cup of coffee, and he pretty much explained to me like that it's a really good score, and it's really unusual that someone like you kind of gets unnoticed. And I think it's because I didn't go to a private school and I didn't have that opportunity to row at school. And I loved the surf boat rowing as well. Like, I did, when I was a bit younger, dabble in stillwater rowing, and I just didn't love it at the time. And I think it's because I just loved the surf boat community, and I loved the surf club so much, and I didn't want to leave my friends. So I was a little bit older now, and I think I was about 24 at that time. And I kind of had to decide, do I want to do stillwater rowing, or do I want to continue rowing surf boats, working as a nurse? Knowing that I like have this opportunity, I kind of thought, I'm probably going to have to at least go down the path and see where it takes me. And I remember talking to my boss, or the manager I work at the War Vets at Colorado Plateau, and I remember talking to her about how I can do it. And her son was a cyclist, and she was like, if you want to do it, you've got to do it, and we'll support you by helping you with shifts and making sure that you can do some nursing shifts around your training. And yeah, it all kind of evolved pretty quickly from that. And I mean, there were pretty long days for me, Harold. I was getting up at 4:00 in the morning to drive to Haberfield, which is not close to the Northern Beaches. And I had to learn how to row in the middle of winter. And that was like pretty awful on the harbour, which is pretty bumpy, in the pitch black as well, which was just, yeah, it was pretty tough. And then you'd eat some food, go for a run around the bay. So like 7-kilometre run, get in the car. Sydney traffic is a nightmare. I can vouch for that. 2 hours in the car to get back to the beaches, go to the gym, go for a quick swim, have a beach shower, go to work from 2 till 10 p.m. And I did that like literally every day for 8 months, and it nearly killed me. Like, no joke, nearly killed me. So yeah, it was a bit rough for a while, but I just knew once I made the Aussie team, if I was to make the Aussie team, then everything would get easier.
And they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So looking back on that journey now, you had obviously Tokyo, COVID. Weird is probably the best way to describe it if you was an athlete over there. But then coming to Paris, all the fanfare in the Chateau, all the team and all the crowds. What was the difference in, I guess, probably the energy in the crowds that were there? and you as an athlete?
The crowds were so loud. I was actually a little bit worried because I am somebody that gets a little bit overstimulated when there's a lot of noise around me. Like if someone's having a conversation behind me, I'm trying to have a conversation with someone in front of me. I don't like it. Just overstimulated. So what we did was, well, I do a lot of work with our team psychologist, so I have a lot of mindfulness recordings, and we've gone through like a script of the race or just like how to stay present, and I listen to those regularly. But I had this idea with him if we could potentially find a recording of just some really loud noise, and then we could overlay it with his recording of my I call it a race plan. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what would be really good is if we got our coxswain, she records her every single race that we do. So then I spoke to her, and so then we had this noise from the 2012 Olympic Games with no voiceover. It was just the recording of the crowd. And so we had this. It was amazing that we even got this. I don't even know how we found it. But anyway, so we had that, and it went for about 6 minutes, which is how long our race is. And then I got my coxswain to overlay her recording of a race, and it was so good. Like, you could just like lie there, and I guess it's like a meditation or a mindfulness or a visualization, but I found that really helpful because the crowd is so loud. I know I was really worried. With an 8, everything has to be in time. You've got 8 bodies all moving at like this. The synchronicity of it has to be perfect.
Perfect.
And at the end there, if you can't hear your coxswain making a call, then like it's all over. So that was really good. I found it really helpful, and the other girls found it really helpful too. So that was definitely something that helped us. Probably didn't help us enough. We needed to find an extra second, but to get a medal. But I think in the last 500 meters of our race, like that, we had a cracker last 500, and I really do think it's because we practiced and we listened to that recording, and we were just all moving to move an 8 like we did. In that, like we had the fastest last 500 out of all the boats, and to be able to do that, you've all got to be moving like perfectly in sync. So maybe we should have done it a little bit earlier in the race, but you can't really think about the what ifs. And I'm really proud of our effort, and it was really great.
But even with that, with the what ifs, like you would have had a clear plan of when you would have need to make that move. And I know that along with everyone else in Australia that was watching, was sort of watching, going, 6th and 7th, they're out. Oh, we're so proud of them. And then that last 500, where they're like, they're not, are they? They're not. But I'll tell you what, top 4 chalky medal. Do you call them a chalky medal?
Yeah, I don't know. I just coming 4th is like a really important place as well. Like, if anything was to happen, like you hear all those stories about some, and I'm not going to say that anybody's, doping or anything, but if somebody was, or if something happened to some of those crews in the placings, then 4th then becomes really important. So yeah, I think we as a crew put together our best race in an Olympic final, and that's all you can ask for, and realistically, like, how did we go that season? Well, we probably, like, we didn't podium at the World Cup 2. World Cup 3, there was nobody there. So did we do anything overly inspiring throughout the season to predict us to win a gold medal? I don't think it's a fair comment to say we did. You got to be a little bit realistic, and you got to have enough perspective to be able to say, like, I actually think, as much as I would have loved a medal, I think that we had our best race, and that's a 4th place. And sometimes at the end of the day, that's all you can do.
That's what it is, right? Yeah. And like you said, having that race plan, having that clear mind, and having that, I guess, that clear plan of what everyone was supposed to do, and the fact that you had that little 1% of having the pre-recording so you could go through over and over, to have that little bit of ease on the start line is so important to have. You could probably remember going back as a ski paddler, standing on the start line with the swell coming in. So many, I guess, intangibles that could take a race either way. But I guess in your boat, everything can be, I guess, as measured as possible. Is that right?
Yeah, our race is pretty controllable, and I found the Paris course really fair. It was kind of a cross tailwind for us on our race day, but there was no lanes that were overly advantaged like compared to others, and we had an outside lane, which I personally prefer, because then our coxswain only has to look one way. She doesn't look both ways, so that can help. It is good to be in the middle, because you're like in the middle, crews around you, like it's easier to see them. But yeah, I think that a lot of stillwater rowing is measurable. And yeah, like on a surf ski or in a surfboat or whatever, there's so much that's out of your control, and that's kind of why I love it as well, because at the end of the day, it's like you versus Mother Nature. For us, it's us, everything's got to go right on the day, and you're really just racing the clock. But it is a race as well, so yeah, we do have our pushes. We have a race plan. We stick to our race plan, but our coxswain is exceptional, and she adjusts the race plan in the moment if she needs to. And yeah, it's stillwater rowing is like it's a really hard sport. It still blows my mind how hard it is.
And I think probably from the outside looking into it, I don't think, especially probably in clubby land and public school land, people don't actually understand the breadth of the sport and how big it is overseas. Like it's bearing on adult status, right? All the drums, everyone in there, all the schools, shirts and ties, everyone screaming over the 2K. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome. I also think like Australia, we haven't nailed the eights for a while. Like the women have never medalled at the Olympics, and with the like a women's eight in Australia or a men's eight in Australia, that's the fastest eight in the country. Whereas in America, you have all these college eights, and they're pretty fast. We don't have that. We don't have college eights. Canada, they have college eights as well, and our population relative to the other countries is so low. And Australia we're really good at a lot of things, and so it's kind of spread a little bit more. So the quality, like we have great rowers in our country, but we don't have the capacity to put 5 eights on the water and then have those practice races and be under pressure in the eight all the time. And I definitely think it's an area for opportunity for Australia, and perhaps something that could be reviewed. But yeah, I think we did a good job, and with the tools that we have, I think we had the best outcome that we could have on the day. So.
Yep, and we're all proud of you, mate. Top 4 in the world is amazing.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about Paris Olympics specific. I called it the castle, but you corrected me. Is it the Chateau?
The Chateau, we were so lucky, and yeah, just super grateful for. I think it was rowing and canoe were sharing the Chateau, and the AOC, of course, as well, and just like that place. I could not complain about a single thing. Like had a queen size bed. Had an ensuite. Like we were overseas for I think almost 13 weeks, and I was sharing a room with one of my best mates. But I was sharing a room that whole time, and when we got to the Chateau, it was so nice just to like have your own space, and the food was excellent. We had fresh croissants every day, fresh baguettes every day, all the French cheese that you could want. Like the food was awesome. I'm not trying to rub it in the face of the people there at the village, but for us, like we were so well looked after, and yeah, I just think when it's coming to those 1%ers or 0.1%, and you're trying to get an edge, and the best thing about where we were staying was it was really close to the course. It was only 10 minutes, so you could go to the course, train, be back, and so it just less time on your feet. And our support staff and our coaches, our performance director, they prioritized that, and it was really great. And I was just very grateful to have the Chateau, and it looked amazing, but it wasn't actually as expensive as what it probably looked like. I'm pretty sure to stay in a hotel it was more expensive than to hire out the Chateau.
The Chateau looked good. And when you talk about little 1%ers and trying to get that edge, how much of an edge was it having the Fox sisters in there as well?
Oh, look, Jess and Noemi are very good friends of mine, and I think it was really great for us to see how they go about their business, particularly Jess. Like she's a really really great athlete, but what I love about Jess is like what you see is what you get. She's a really great person. She's got the biggest heart, and she'll sit down and has the time of day for anybody. And there's not a lot of people like Jess Fox around, and so you feel somewhat inferior to people like Jess and the whole Fox family. Like they're so lovely, they're so humble, and they paved the way, and we just have to walk on it behind her. But it was just so special. I think watching her win the kayak, particularly, I know she's been working towards that one for a very long time, for 12 years or so, and to see her actually achieve that goal after such a long time, even though she's had a lot of success in other things, that was her number one. And to be able to share that, like she'd be one of my best mates, and to be able to be there and share that with her, and see her ring the bell that we have and spray the champagne and stuff, like that was a really special moment. And just so happy and proud of her.
Now does that spur you on for another go around, another 4 years, LA, short track, short and sharp, just be like a ski race? Can you
1500
do it
meters
again?
is definitely tempting. I think for me though, like I don't know, Harold. There's other things that I want to do with my life as well, and I want to start a family, and I want to have a job, and I love being an athlete. Like I love the lifestyle. I miss the surf club a lot. I miss rowing surf boats more than anything, and I miss being by the beach. It's pretty hard being out in Penrith, but I guess
No salt water out there?
no salt water out there. You've got the Blue Mountains, but yeah, it's just yeah, it's not an easy question to ask. Like, what if I said to you, "What are you going to be doing for the next 4 years?"
Trying to improve my golf. I definitely know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't
so,
know, right? You just find your passion and follow it, right?
yeah. I think so, but yeah, there's rowing is a very consuming sport. It's 3 sessions a day, 6 days a week. You're in a training center where you don't get to make any decisions really, other than what you eat, what time you go to bed. Ours is very dictated, and like signing up for that for 4 years after I've already done almost 8 years is a lot. That's kind of like most of my 20s and my 30s doing it. And yeah, I still love it. Like I love training, and like, my mates that are there are such good friends, and I actually can't imagine not doing it. So I still feel like I have more to give to the sport. Um, and yeah, I love rowing. I love rowing. At the end of the day, I love rowing. So if it's not in the elite high performance arena, then it'll probably be in the surf boat world. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I need some time away. I've got a cold sore because I've been so stressed out. And
I
yeah,
thought it was from patch rash from not seeing your boyfriend for a while. No,
well, that too. But no, I think yeah, a bit of time away to refresh and reflect and all of that and reset myself will be really good. And I mean, you guys see the highlights. You see the end of the 4 years. You don't see the day to day tears and the amount of pain that you put yourself through as a rower. Like it's a really hard sport, like I said earlier. And yeah, it's just how
can
much.
we go into that a little bit if that's all right? So
Yeah, for sure.
we only see the all the highlights and stuff on TV, but the sacrifices like relationships, time, or family, even like nutrition. Like you can't just go down and punch 10 donuts and go out for a Thursday night snitty, can you? Because everything, like you said, is out of your control.
Well, not everything's out of our control, and also rowing is the one of the greatest things about rowing is because we train so much, we can eat everything. So I can go and have a schnitty, and I have been like I've literally been to the donut shop with my head coach having donuts. So it's like yeah, it's actually really good like that. Rowing is good. I mean, of course you don't want to overdo it, but for us it's calories in. So like a normal day would be like 22 k's in the morning, hour and a half in the gym, and then it could be 90 minutes to 2 hours of cross training in the afternoon, and that's 6 days a week. So yeah, we're pretty fit, which means we need lots of cows.
How
And
many are you punching per day?
pardon?
You have like a target you're supposed to hit,
Yeah,
calories wise.
I honestly wouldn't be able to hit it. Like yeah,
I
it,
reckon I could,
it's pretty hard. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of cows.
but fun. You said you loved it. Now, I guess relationships, family, like how hard is it being away from them for so long? Family and friends.
Um, I think like earlier on, I found it really hard, but I was a little bit resistant. I think I was a bit more resistant to moving to Penrith and being at the training centre because I have a really good life. Like I love my life, love my mates, have some of the best people in my life, my friends, and my family's really close. But as time has gone on, and I don't know, it kind of ebbs and flows a bit, like when I used to get a little bit envious of my friends and the stages of life that they were at and buying homes and starting families. And but for me, like that's not really that at that point in time. That wasn't what I was trying to do. I was trying to train. I was training for the Olympics and trying to win a gold medal, and it's very different. And I think probably one of the hardest things for me is when I go home and I see my grandma, and every time I see her, she gets a little bit older, and I just don't know how much longer she's going to be around for, and I miss that. I miss and I will never get that time back with her. But in saying that, like I I know how much joy she gets watching me race, so that's really sick. But also my brothers, like they're all living all over the place now. I've got three beautiful brothers, and they all live. One's in Norway, for like so far away, and the other one's up on the central coast near you, and the other one's over in Perth. So I don't really get to spend too much time with them, but they've all had kids, and it is a little bit hard being away from. I love my family so much; they're so close to me, and my two older brothers are my best mates, and their kids are so beautiful, and I wish I could spend more time with them. And that's probably what is the hardest, is like, like I said, you'll never get that time back. But on the flip side, how cool is it that I have like 5 little cheerleaders all wanting to like, and they're so stoked that I'm their auntie, and
Because
that's
Auntie Queen is an Olympian. That's why they love it, right?
yeah. It's really cool. And even some of my mates with their kids, like I was talking to one of my friends, Ellie, and she's got a daughter called Georgie as well. I'm sure she named her after me, but they've never admitted that to me. But so she's baby G, or she's little G, and I'm big G. And I actually FaceTimed them before I raced, and little G was just so pumped. Like I think she's about 4 or 5, and she was just so excited, telling everyone at daycare that mum and dad's best friends at the Olympics, and just loves it. So yeah, I mean, the time I used to find it a lot harder than I do now, because now I just feel like there's more momentum and I'm really enjoying it. And my boyfriend lives out in Glenbrook as well, in the Blue Mountains with me, so it's a little bit easier. My ducks are a bit more in a row these days. Yeah, so
You've been doing it a while. So you're the oldest in the squad? So
no,
are you like Nelly?
no, there's a girl. Whoa, how old do you think I am?
26? No, aren't you like early 30s?
I'm 31.
Yeah,
so,
that's early 30s.
We've got a girl in that who was in the 8, and she's 37.
Jeez. All right, so you don't have to take the mothering role yet.
Well, I think I just gravitate towards that naturally anyway.
So good. All right, so we've spoken about the Olympics, you're rowing. What I would like to know is, who's got worlds? I'm just trying to pick a time when you're going to have some free time. It's a Wednesday night. You can do whatever you want. Who are you taking to dinner, and where are you going, and what are you eating?
Probably my boyfriend, actually. Like, yeah, I haven't been able to spend much time with him lately, so I feel like I have to almost say him. I mean, where am I?
Wherever. You can be wherever you want, mate. You're an Olympian.
Okay, well, my favourite restaurant is in Narrabeen. It's called Sushi Nara, and it's this really, really amazing Japanese food. So I'll probably take him to Japanese. He knows that I would say that too, which is just so predictable of me, but it's the best Japanese food you'll have.
Predictability is good because we know what we're getting, so that's okay.
Yeah. Am I only taking one person, or can I take a few?
I'll take a few. Who else would you take? Like, who have you missed the most? Like your girlfriends? I'm sure, like Kelly and the family? No?
Yeah, I caught up with Kelly Trim yesterday. I probably would take, I've got the girls that I rode with, Abby, Sarah, and Amy. Love those girls, and they've all got babies now, which is great. So probably them, their kids. Kelly, one of my mates came over to watch me race, Liz Green, or Liz Beaumont. She's awesome. We've rode together as well. We won silver together. So, all my best mates are from the surf club, so just pretty much anyone. But yeah, definitely Brad and I would probably be going for Japanese.
Nice.
Sorry, I don't want to try to get a funny answer out of me then, but I love Japanese food. I also love a margarita. So Mexican food would be all right too.
Just all the food by the sounds of it. See, but you don't have to watch what you're eating. So I guess that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, culture-wise, you just alluded to all your best mates are from Surf Life Saving. How much has that got to do with having the outward-facing, the volunteer aspect to it, where you're just hanging out with like-minded people? Because it is unlike any other sport.
Yeah, I do notice that a bit too, especially going from like a community-based sport and giving back to your community to then going into the elite world. It's really different. And at the end of the day, in the elite high-performance world, people are there for their own agendas, and what they're putting in is what they're getting out. And if you have to beat someone to get your bum on the seat in the boat, and that person's your friend, but you want to be in the boat, like the reality is, like, you want the seat, so you got to do what it takes to get in the boat. But the surf boat, I like the continuity of your crew. Like, you kind of get together after a season, and you're like, yeah, should we do this again? Yeah, and you have the same crew each year. You try to, and I like that continuity. And I also just love, I wouldn't say I love doing patrols because I don't get much time off at the moment. But when I was younger and I was doing patrols, you'd go for a row, you'd stay on patrol all day, then you'd go for a drink at the at the beach club or whatever after, and it's a pretty good lifestyle. Hey, so
that's a good lifestyle, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I guess, and probably the next segue then. So what do we got? 2032. So that will be in the Olympics in Brisbane.
Yeah, what are they? Do you know what they're actually going to be putting in the games for surf life.
You'd assume it'd have to be a ski board iron, right? In the swim,
Yeah,
surf
yeah.
boats, flags, or we could actually have some world champions on the beach at an actual Olympic level.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So good. All right, so good. Anything? What do we got? So everyone knows about how it feels after the race, things like that. Who was your support crew over? How much of the family went over there to hang out with you and watch and cheer?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky actually. I haven't had many family members come over to watch me race before. But I had my older brother Eric. He came over from Norway. Had my boyfriend there, and he had some of his family come over as well. And then I had my mentor Romilly, who's also a very active surf member at Bilgola. She used to be the president of Bilgola, Romilly Maju, and so her husband and son and daughter came over to watch me race, which was great because they're like second family to me. And strangely enough, my auntie is coaching a K2 or was coaching a K2 for the American team. So she was actually there and she had full access to the regatta. So that was like so awesome to have her there. She went to Sydney and Atlanta Olympics. So yeah, it was great to have her around and snag a cuddle when I could and just have a familiar face around.
And she would have been peaking everywhere because she's full of energy, Auntie Shelley. She would have been everywhere.
Yeah, she was frothing hard. Like she was loving it.
All right, now, people you love, you saw there. Was there any celebrities or pinch yourself moments like, God, geez, look who that is? Any of that?
Not really for me. I mean, we didn't spend much time in the village. We only were in the village the last night for the closing ceremony. It was pretty cool seeing Simone Biles. Like that was definitely pretty cool.
How much taller are you than her? Like heaps?
Oh, I didn't get that close to her, hey, but she was, yeah, I saw her and Alona from America. She was also pretty cool.
Nice.
Just saw her from a distance, but
look, were you closer to her or were you closer to the band on the stage on the closing ceremony?
I got pretty close there, didn't I?
You were so close.
Oh, it was actually so funny. The volunteers, they were like, yep, you can go up. And so I just legged it and like launched myself to the front of the stage. And then they were telling us to get off the stage. And I was really worried about the stage, like the weight limit on the stage. And then so I was like, everyone, you got to go. But I'm going to stay, but everyone else needs to go. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, only billions of people saw you rocking out with the band. Did you even know the words to the song?
Yeah, I did actually. I can't remember what the song was. It was Phoenix that was playing, wasn't it?
New music.
Mr. Mania, I think it was. Mr. Mania. The thing is, now it looked like I was absolutely rocking out to the music, but the speakers are all facing away from the stage, and so you can't actually hear the music very loud.
It looked good though. It looked so good.
Yeah, it was really fun. Everyone was up there just having a good little jig, but yeah, it was funny. It was more funny the way that it all happened, and the fact that the volunteers didn't think that they've got all these athletes that just want to party, like as if we were not going to run onto the stage.
And fast, because you're all fitter and faster and stronger than all the volunteers anyway.
That's
so
right.
That would be,
right.
Yeah, not well thought out there. So, G, we spoke earlier about South Kirkcaldo's coastal rowing. Is it a new sport? What is it? What are we doing? How far is it? Where's it at?
Well, funny you should ask, because I'm actually up on the Sunshine Coast because the Nationals for the coastal rowing is on this weekend. And I thought I'd have a little dabble in that this year. And I am going over to Italy in a couple of weeks, back to Italy, to do the World Champs for coastal rowing. So I had a few things on my plate to do after the Olympics, just to keep myself busy. But the coastal rowing is a bit of a collab between surf boats and stillwater rowing. But I do think that this sport has so much opportunity for clubbies, particularly nippers or kids or whatever that don't go to private schools and don't have the opportunity to row. But for us that have grown up in the water and have a really good understanding of surf skills and surf awareness, it could definitely, if people really want to have a crack and have that kind of Olympic dream and have that experience, coastal rowing is definitely an opportunity because it's a pretty underdeveloped sport at the moment in Australia. And personally, I actually think now that I've tried it and I've done surf boats and stillwater, I really believe that ski paddlers would be really good at coastal rowing because you have to understand the ocean and just the skills. Like it's a bit agile, and because surf boats are so big, right? And then stillwaters are so
So what are you paddling? That was my next question. How many's in the boat? How wide is it? What does it look like? What are you rowing?
It kind of looks like a surf ski. but it's like a big single scull, but it's a bit shorter. So you go through kind of like a surf ski race. How you know how they're usually like is it like a diamond or
Yeah.
an yeah. So there's I was practicing today. There's 3 boys, and it's kind of like slalom a little bit, where you have to have like the one.
Well, it's just you. It's individual, singular.
Yeah, there's a single and there's double, mixed double, and a mixed quad. So in Italy, I'll be racing in a mixed quad and a mixed double.
Okay.
And then there's 2 events, right? There's like a long distance one and a sprint one. And I just think these ski paddlers will be all over it.
And again, dumb question, and for the newbies playing at home, are you facing forwards or backwards?
Rowing is always facing backwards.
So then how do you know where you're going?
You gotta just turn your head. Actually, my neck is a little bit sore today, but you gotta turn your head and have a look.
But at least you can see the runner's coming, so you know when you're lighting shades on, right? So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, we'll look out for that one.
In the quad, you actually have a coxswain. It's a coxed quad.
Oh, we all love a cox quad, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Well, I think that might wrap it up, G. We've loved following your journey. We've loved you opening up to us. We are proud of you from the Surf Life Saving community, and we hope to see you on the podium at Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Learn the club song because you might be singing it.
Oh, so, yeah. I'll be throwing that South Curly cap around for sure. I wonder if I can get a cap that's South Curly on one side and then Collaroy on the other side.
No.
Okay.
Collaroy and Manly are in your heart, and then this is where you build the love and the passion and the medals for the Melbourne Beaches Club. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to it, mate. G, again, we're so proud of you. Thank you for chatting with us here on What the Surf podcast, episode 2, Olympic edition.
Thanks for having me.
See you, mate.